And appreciate Linda Gunn joining us. She is the mother of CJ Gunn, a basketball player at Indiana, but more importantly, and the reason she's with us, she's also a certified agent. Thank you, first of all, for joining us, Linda.
Sure. Thank you for the opportunity, Jim.
You know, everybody thinks that everybody has an agent. And I'm like, man, it doesn't work that way. I mean, some do, but not every athlete out there has an agent or needs one for that matter. But you went through the process of becoming a certified agent. First of all, what prompted you to do that? Obviously, what CJ with NIL and all the changes that have come around, was it just the hey, I want to make sure that he's got the representation that we want him to, the kind that we want him to have. But what prompted you to actually go through this process?
Yeah. So my decision to through the process was actually driven by my desire to support my son's dreams of playing at the next level. My thought was the more informed I am about the business and the industry and how it works, the more capable I am to help him navigate that when the time is right for him, and if he's so fortunate to have that opportunity.
And and then my question is, what does it take to? What is that process? How does it start? What all does it involve? What all do you have to do to get to that point?
Yeah, so there's a test that you have to take for certification that only happens once a year, and that's in January. So the process involves applying to take the test, and there's end of October is the deadline for you to put in your application, and there's like an approval process. And so just because you apply doesn't mean you automatically get the opportunity to test for the certification. They do background checks and review your application for eligibility to take the test. And so there's a fee associated with it. I think it was like about $1,000 to apply.
Yeah, is
And
this through
then
NCAA?
it's through the National Basketball Players Association.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
And so you apply by October 31st, and then you find out around middle of December whether or not you actually qualify to take the test. And you have about a month to study. So in paying the $1,000, you have access to all the material and everything to study. And then there is a 3-hour test that you have to sit for in January with 50 questions, and you have to pass. And so you find out early February timeframe whether or not you've passed the tests, and that's how it works.
And then once you are certified, does that allow you to use that for any association, whether it's the NCAA or the NBA, or does the NBA have their own separate one?
Yeah, this is for the NBA in particular. Yeah,
Okay, so
certification.
wow. So have you been reaching out to Steph Curry or Klay Thompson or Trace Jackson or any of the guys? You get plenty of contacts there.
No, it doesn't work quite that easily, but it's definitely an industry that requires that you're very comfortable in building relationships, and you kind of have a knack for doing that, because your success very much is driven by your knowledge of the industry and the relationships within the industry. So unfortunately, no, I haven't had the opportunity to meet the Steph Currys and the LeBron James of the world, but I did have to participate in an annual seminar that is provided to all of the certified agents that you're required to go to back in April. So that's an opportunity it presented the first real opportunity for me to network with other agents, some who had been certified for a lot longer than I had. And so that was an opportunity to begin the process of actually starting to build relationships and mentor mentee types of opportunities to continue to learn about the business.
What's the biggest misconception people probably have about being an agent? that certified agent?
Um, so I think they're, in watching TV or the movies or whatever, I think what people assume is that the work of an agent is really about, working with the different NBA organizations in negotiating contracts. And that is, a large part of what the job entails, but it is very much a hodgepodge of different responsibilities. I mean, it could be everything from managing, you know, um, the process of getting a passport for a player. It could be cleaning up their social media accounts. It could be helping them, buy a car or helping them buy a house or managing their bills or connecting them with, someone like a financial advisor to help them, manage their finances. It's making the right connections from a marketing branding standpoint. So the job of an agent is very, very, very diverse.
It's very broad. Uh,
Very,
and with that being the case, because all the things that you just listed, which were vast, how much more of that have you been, I don't want to say forced, but uh, guided into having to learn as well? You talked about so much that this has been a process of learning. Uh,
mhm.
and, but man, all those things you just listed, that's a lot of other things that you have to know about or know somebody that is good at it.
Yes. So fortunately, I have 30 years of experience in corporate America. So some of these things, involve more of kind of transferable skills. And so you think about, things like just good communication skills, leadership, influence types of skills. I have 30 years of experience in corporate America where I use those things on a daily basis. The other piece is, it's kind of back to you have to find resources that actually have more experience in this space that can teach you as well. And so I've been fortunate enough to have established a really good relationship with another sports agent that's been in the business for many, many years. And so they've been helpful in making sure, I was connected to the right resources to stay in tune to, what's happening in the industry. They give me kind of the kind of behind the curtain view in terms of what they do day to day. And so that is helpful for me in terms of really, starting to um, become more familiar and learn, more about the industry in a space that's just really safe.
And with all the changes that have come in college in the last couple of years, namely name, image, likeness, uh, are any thoughts to going down that avenue? Because I know that, like I said, everybody thinks that everybody has an agent, and that's not the case. Uh,
Mhm.
but with it growing and it becoming a bigger avenue for virtually every player on so many teams,
Mhm.
is that something that you would want to or consider to go into, or is it, or do you have your path kind of chosen? Hey, I'm just kind of staying in this lane, and that's what I'll do.
Yes. And so, yes, so I am very much interested in that path. Again, it gets back to those relationship skills. And really, I have the benefit, particularly with my son, in knowing him very well, right? And so when you think about those, NIL relationships, it's important to be connected with the kinds of things that, you're really passionate about. And so as an agent or anyone that's representing an athlete, it's important to really know the athlete beyond who they are, on the basketball court to make sure you're helping them make the right connections with the right opportunities as it relates to different, NIL opportunities that they would represent, because you want them to be connected to something that, they're truly, passionate about. And in that way, their representation of their brand really, becomes very authentic to the individual.
And it has to be just take so much time because there's so many different people you have to work with in getting these things done, different organizations, different companies. And I know that virtually everything goes back to something you've already said, building relationships,
Mhm.
which it can be said for a lot of what a lot of us do, but especially what you're doing, and growing that, and then potentially growing that as a business, which can, man, that could seem like that could get big very fast and be a
Yes,
lot to have to manage.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, but again, like you said, it kind of goes back to the relationship piece and really investing in building relationships with individuals that they have experience in this space that can be resources for you, that can help you, connect you to the right people to drive your success. You
What's
can't do it alone.
what's been the most surprising thing that you've learned through this process?
The most surprising.
I guess, yeah, maybe that you didn't expect or didn't think. Um, I asked about the biggest misconception earlier, that people may have, but what was maybe a misconception you had about that industry?
I would say initially, before I made the decision to become a certified agent, the biggest misconception that I had was that this was a job only for attorneys, because honestly, my interest in it was triggered by a cousin of mine that's just a really big supporter of CJ. And literally, he called me out of the blue and was like, "Linda, I feel like you need to do this." And I kind of dismissed it at first because I thought, well, you have to be an attorney to do this, and I don't have a legal background. And thankfully he had already done like some of the preliminary research to connect me with the application process and the qualifications and everything, and he's like, no, no, you don't. And so again, I give thanks to him for even introducing it as a possibility, because that was my assumption, that this was a job for attorneys, and that's not at all the case.
Yeah, and a lot of them are. I think part of that though comes from the contract writing side of it, which there is a lot of that. But obviously, there you could just put together your own team and have, hey, this is what I need these guys for. I need them to make sure that this stuff is legal and to write the agreements, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, there are probably probably most are aides or attorneys for that reason, I guess. I would have assumed, but yeah, there are guys that I think that I knew of that didn't have that weren't attorneys, but yet there's so much that you learn that you're kind of half an attorney by the time you're done.
Yeah. And the reality is that, this certification comes through the National Basketball Players Association. And they actually have a lot of resources available to agents as well. And so the like the agent player contract is available, through their portal. And they have other resources related to like salary information and things like that, as well as people. So if you need access to individuals that for any kind of guidance or questions or anything, or you need someone to review contract, like they have resources available through the organization to support their agents as well. So you're not just out there on an island to figure it out by yourself.
What's the next step for you in this endeavor? I know obviously CJ still a sophomore in college, so he has a few years of potential college left. Of course, he can go at any time, but if until that happens, what are you looking to do? Anything with this in the interim?
Yeah, so for me, this is really primarily a period of learning. For CJ, his focus is on IU and helping IU win. And so I don't distract him at all. with what I'm doing. My focus right now, like I said, I've been very fortunate to have built a really good relationship with a very experienced agent. And so just continuing to build that relationship with him, it's important that agents are very familiar with the collective bargaining agreement, which is, it's hundreds and hundreds of pages of a contract, but it it's the Bible, for agents in terms of information related to player eligibility, rules around salary, trades, things like that. And then staying connected into the right networks to understand kind of what is happening in the industry. So again, if CJ is fortunate enough that he gets his opportunity, then I'm very well informed to be able to support him.